Hello everyone, welcome to our today's class. So today we will be studying current affairs especially for the month of September and October 2021. We will also see some evolutionary current affairs, just for example, new education policy, which has completed 1 year. Okay, since its inception, it has completed 1 year in August 2021. So we will see the review and the features of this policy as well. Now, this new education policy is a very important topic, especially for the UPSC examination. It is a part of GS paper 2, mains examination GS paper 2, जिसमें हमें एक पार्ट है सोशल जस्टिस का, वेयर वी नीड टू स्टडी अबाउट द स्कीम्स रिलेटेड टू स्किल डेवलपमेंट, हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन. ठीक है, तो न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 विल बी अ पार्ट ऑफ इट. तो इसके पहले कुछ फीचर्स देख लेते हैं. वी विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट द न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी इज ऑल अबाउट. वी विल लुक इनटू द फीचर्स ऑफ दिस पॉलिसी. वी विल आल्सो सी व्हाट आर इट्स शॉर्टकमिंग्स, तो इसमें रिफॉर्म्स एरिया कौन से है, एंड लास्टली व्हाट इज द वे फॉरवर्ड फॉर इट. So let us begin with the new education policy 2020. Now see why this policy is important. जैसा हमने एक बार डिस्कस किया था दैट when we talk about the reforms in India, okay, if we try to compare it with the economic reforms, so the year 1991 is a very important year because in this year we introduced the LPG reforms. Now LPG reforms of 91 are considered to be a structural reforms in the economy. See, whenever we talk about reforms, there are two types. One is a functional reform. So जो existing scheme है या existing policy जो चल रही है, ओके, इसे बस फंक्शनली चेंज किया जाता है. बट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स, व्हाई स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स आर इंपॉर्टेंट, एज द नेम सजेस्ट स्ट्रक्चरल, मतलब द एंटायर स्केलेटन, और या आप कह सकते हो कि पूरे पॉलिसी का जो ढांचा है उसे ही बदला जाएगा इसमें. सो न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी अ kind of a structural reform in Indian education system. So Indian education system will be totally reformed after the successful implementation of this policy. So let us try to understand what is the aim and objective of the government with respect to this policy itself. ओके, नाउ टॉकिंग अबाउट द पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट. अभी देखिए, इसमें हम दोनों प्रकार के क्वेश्चंस देखेंगे. वन विच आर आस्क्ड इन द मेंस एग्जामिनेशन, सेकंड जो करंट अफेयर्स के ब्रैकेट में आएंगे. नाउ ऑन दिस कमिंग संडे यू हैव अ टेस्ट ऑन करंट अफेयर्स. इन द टेस्ट यू विल कम अक्रॉस सच क्वेश्चंस. तो वी विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि करंट अफेयर्स पे क्वेश्चंस भी कैसे किए जाते हैं. नाउ फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट इटसेल्फ, व्हेनेवर देयर इज अ गवर्नमेंट स्कीम इंप्लीमेंटेड, एनी गवर्नमेंट स्कीम, एनी गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी विच कम्स इनटू इट, तो बहुत बार ऐसा होता है दैट देयर इज अ अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ अ रिकमेंडरी कमिटी. So committee studies the issue. Now, for example, if we talk about the issue of education in India, so there was a committee appointed under the leadership or the chairmanship of Dr. Kasturi Ranjan. Okay, Dr. Kasturi Ranjan is a scientist. So under his chairmanship, a committee was appointed to study the education system in India, and he has suggested the reforms or the features of this new education policy 2020. They come under the recommendation of the committee appointed under Dr. कस्तूरी रंजन. तो पहले तो आपको इनका नाम याद रखना है, दैट दिस वर द सजेशंस ऑफ कस्तूरी रंजन कमिटी, which after which the new education policy was implemented. Now new education policy focuses on both. It focuses on reforms in the higher education as well as reforms in the school education. So holistically, if we see from the age of 3 up to higher education, this entire age group is covered in the new education policy. Okay, it also talks about the रेगुलेटरी मैकेनिज्म्स और विद रिस्पेक्ट टू एजुकेशन. जैसे अगर हम आज एजुकेशन सेक्टर के रेगुलेशन की बात करें, सो वी नो दैट देयर आर डिफरेंट रेकमेंडरी बॉडीज, फॉर एग्जांपल नैक, एआईसीटीई, यूजीसी. ओके, आपने अपने कॉलेजेस में इनका नाम सुना रहेगा. सो दे एक्ट एज अ रेगुलेटर फॉर वेरियस एजुकेशनल सेक्टर्स विद इन इंडिया. सो देयर इज अ रिफॉर्म इंट्रोड्यूस्ड विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द रेगुलेटरी सेक्टर इन एजुकेशन एज वेल. ओके, सो ये भी इसका एक इस कमिटी का या इस पॉलिसी का एक हिस्सा है. ठीक है. नाउ द अप्रोच टुवर्ड्स दिस, नाउ अप्रोच इज टेकन फ्रॉम द एंशिएंट इंडियन यूनिवर्सिटीज. ओके, इफ यू कैन रिकॉल, वी हैव स्टडीड अबाउट द features of Nalanda University and Takshashila University. Now these two, the three universities, that Nalanda, Takshashila, okay, these were considered to be one of the most important. So scholars from various countries, okay, they visited these universities. If you can recall about Nalanda University of Bihar, so many of the Buddhist scholars from various countries visited this यूनिवर्सिटीज. और ऐसा नहीं कि यहाँ पे सिर्फ रिलीजियस स्टडीज हुआ करते थे. ओके, देयर वर वेरियस डिसिप्लिन्स अवेलेबल विद इन दिस यूनिवर्सिटी. सो द सेम फीचर, दैट इज a multidisciplinary approach, is to be introduced in the Indian education system. So it is nothing new, but some practices which we had followed in the ancient times, so they are to be revived within the new education policy. Okay, तो अभी का जो education system है, which is considered to be very rigid. For example, if you select any science stream, So majority of the subjects that you see or all the subjects that you see, these are basically related to science only. ठीक है, तो इसमें हम multidisciplinary approach नहीं करते. That is, for example, even though if you are a science student, but if you are interested in the Indian polity or if you are interested in international relation or any of the studies of humanities, तो वो व्यक्ति उसे परस्यू नहीं कर पाता अंडर द करंट एजुकेशन सिस्टम. बट नाउ अ मल्टी सब्जेक्ट और अ मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच is to be introduced within the NEP. We will go into the depth of it. So we understand that the encouragement or the enthusiasm towards this policy comes from the ancient Indian history, ठीक है, especially from the spirit of Nalanda University and the Takshashila University. Okay, now it also talks about, along with the academic knowledge, the new education policy also talk about ethics. It also talks about the constitutional values, okay, and contribution to the society. Okay, so if we go, if we move towards a little bit of the philosophical structure of education, okay, now when we talk about any of domain specific education, for example engineering, medical, etc., तो इसमें हम ये टर्म्स नहीं देखते. We do not know that there is a separate subject on ethics. Okay, there might be a separate subject on constitutional values. तो जनरली ये नहीं होता. Now when you prepare for civil services, तो तभी आप इस सब्जेक्ट्स के अक्रॉस आते हो, या जब भी आप कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स के लिए पढ़ते हो, यू कम अक्रॉस वेरियस सच सब्जेक्ट. जैसे इन यूपीएससी सिविल सर्विसेज देयर इज अ सेपरेट 250 मार्क्स एथिक्स पेपर, but otherwise in domain specific courses, okay, such subjects are not available. So now there will be a intermixing of the such subject. तो थोड़ा सा एक होलिस्टिकली समझने की कोशिश कीजिए. Okay, the new education policy, it does not aim towards making any person, okay, only intellectual in a particular domain. मतलब अगर कोई व्यक्ति इंजीनियर बन रहा है, ओके, तो ऐसा ना हो कि उसे सिर्फ इंजीनियरिंग का ही नॉलेज हो. इफ यू आस्क हिम और हर अबाउट हिज फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज, फंडामेंटल राइट्स, ओके, अबाउट द प्रीएम्बल ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, तो इस व्यक्ति को कुछ नहीं पता. तो वैसा नहीं चाहिए. दे वांट अ पर्सन टू गेट अ होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट, ओके, दैट इज अलोंग विथ हिज डोमेन स्पेसिफिक वैल्यूज or domain specific knowledge. This person should also know what are his duties towards India, what are the fundamental rights available to him or her from the constitution. Okay, so this part of ethics, constitutional values, and most importantly your contribution to the community. Now see, whenever you take education, etc., it's very fine or it's very obvious that you do it for your own job security or career building, etc. ये एक चीज होगी. But whenever you work, तो एक philosophy होनी चाहिए. See, when we talk about the purpose of work, okay, one of the feature to get a job satisfaction is that whatever you work, whatever work you do, it should create some kind of impact on the other person. Okay, suppose if I am delivering a lecture, so the objective of the lecture, okay, it is definite that I want to impart knowledge to you, but this lecture should create an impact on your personality. That should be the end goal of this lecture. That is, you take out something new from this, or you get to learn something new from this lecture. That would be an impact of the contribution of this lecture on your minds. Okay, so similarly, contribution to the community or this feeling or emotion of seva in the education system is to be इंट्रोड्यूस. ओके, तो ब्रॉडली अगर हम देखें, थोड़ा सा एक फिलोसॉफिकल स्टैंड पे अगर हम देखें, तो दीज आर द ब्रॉड ऑब्जेक्टिव्स ऑफ द न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020. नाउ वी विल गो इनटू द फाइनल डिटेल्स ऑफ इट. ठीक है, इसके प्रोविजंस क्या है जिसपे हमें एग्जाम पे क्वेश्चंस आ सकते हैं. फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट क्वेश्चन दैट वी हैव सीन इज अबाउट द नेम ऑफ द कमिटी. तो व्हेनेवर एनी गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी इज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड, try to find out which committee has recommended its implementation. Yeah, I think there's a question from Sayyam. Yes, Sayyam, please go ahead. Yes, I am. Do you have any question?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, I want to ask that we need to remember the names of the people who have got the Padma Shri Award for various work.
सारे तो आपको याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है, बट रिमेंबर दोज नेम्स स्पेशली हु आर कमिंग फ्रॉम वेरी एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी स्टफ. फॉर एग्जांपल दोज इंडिविजुअल्स, ओके, हु आर कमिंग फ्रॉम द वेरी ग्रास रूट लेवल, तो उनके नाम सब याद रखिए. ये आपको हार्डली 5 या 6 ही मिलेंगे, बट उनके नाम सब याद रखिए. जनरली पद्म भूषण या पद्म विभूषण पे इतने क्वेश्चंस नहीं आते. भारत रत्न पे डेफिनेटली आते हैं, बट इन दिस ईयर्स अवार्डीज अगर आप देखोगे तो बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं दोज हु कम फ्रॉम द वेरी ग्रास रूट लेवल. ठीक है, तो उनके बारे में थोड़ा सा देख लीजिए. नॉट ओनली देयर नेम्स, यू हैव टू सी देयर कंट्रीब्यूशन आल्सो, दैट व्हाई दे रिसीव्ड द पद्मा अवार्ड. सो वो भी देख लीजिए. आई कैन नॉट रिकॉल द नेम ऑफ अ पर्सन, बट देयर वाज वन इंडिविजुअल, okay, who via making a business of oranges, by selling oranges, he was contributing towards education in his own locality. तो ऐसे जो इंडिविजुअल्स है, ओके, दोज हु कम फ्रॉम अ वेरी एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी और जैसे आप कहोगे फ्रॉम वेरी ग्रास रूट लेवल, पीपल्स पद्मा
Sir,
अवार्ड जिसको बुलाया जाते हैं, तो उनके
are you
बारे में थोड़ा
talking
सा याद
about
रखिए.
sir? Are you talking about Harekla Hazara?
यस, मोस्ट प्रोबेबली मैंने जस्ट अभी ऑन द वे उनके बारे में पढ़ा, तो दैट इज व्हाई आई कुड नॉट रिकॉल द नेम. बट ऐसे लोगों के बारे में
Yes,
आपको
sir.
थोड़ा याद रखना है, एंड ऑल्सो देयर कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन, दे बिलोंग टू विच रीजन और उन्हें अवार्ड क्यों दिया गया है.
Okay, sir.
Okay, chalo, let us continue. Let us see some key features of the new education policy. Okay, the aim and objective. Now again, this is an examination question. What is the objective of that policy? देखिए, पॉलिसी के फीचर्स बहुत सारे रहते हैं, बट वेन एवर यू कम अक्रॉस एनी स्कीम और एनी गवर्नमेंट प्रोजेक्ट, इट हैज अ वन लाइनर ऑब्जेक्टिव. सो प्लीज रिमेंबर द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ दैट पॉलिसी. अभी ये बहुत बार दिस बिकम्स अ वेरी कंफ्यूजिंग एरिया इन द ऑप्शन, क्योंकि जैसे यहाँ पे देखिए एनईपी 2020 ऑब्जेक्टिव इज मेकिंग इंडिया अ ग्लोबल नॉलेज सुपर पावर. ठीक है, तो बाकी के जो तीन ऑप्शंस रहेंगे दैट विल बी ऑल्सो वेरी क्लोजर एंड रिलेटेड टू द एजुकेशन सेक्टर ओनली. सो दिस इज समथिंग दैट वी हैव टू लर्न और वी हैव टू क्रैम अप, आई विल से. तो ये थोड़ा सा आपको याद रखना होगा. ओके, रिलेटेड टू ऑल अदर गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स एंड पॉलिसीज एज वेल. ठीक है, नाउ व्हाई दिस एनईपी 2020 इज इंपॉर्टेंट, एज वी डिस्कस्ड इन द इनिशियल पार्ट ऑफ द लेक्चर, इट टॉक्स अबाउट द स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स इन एजुकेशन. तो इसके पहले क्या ऐसा कोई अटेम्प्ट किया गया था टू ब्रिंग अबाउट सम स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स इन एजुकेशन? आंसर इज yes, it was done in the year 1968 and then in 1986. So try to understand the value of it since independence, since after so many years of independence, now this is happening only for the third time that an attempt is made to totally overhaul the education system. So that is what makes the NEP 2020 very important. So it is only third such attempt to totally rehaul the or overhaul the education system. Okay, next is one important change that we have to remember. Now, Ministry of HRD, Human Resource Development, it has been suggested by the new education policy that this should be renamed to Ministry of Education. So ये थोड़ा सा एक स्मॉल फैक्चुअल पॉइंट है जो आपको एग्जाम के लिए याद रखना होगा. ओके, चलो लेट अस मूव टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. ठीक है, चलो लेट अस सी अबाउट इट नाउ. Yeah, what is the background to NEP 2020? Now it was suggested by the Kasturi Ranjan committee. इनके बारे में याद रखिए, डॉक्टर कस्तूरी रंजन initially also, before this also, before chairing this, okay, he had also submitted a report on the Western Ghats, the status of Western Ghats in India. ठीक है, तो ये रिपोर्ट भी कस्तूरी रंजन जी से ही अटैच्ड है. ओके, तो just because his reference came in, I would like to tell you that he was also associated with the study of environmental degradation of Western Ghats in India. Now, NEP, now new education policy, let us try to connect it to our subject also. Now the features of new education policy are also associated with the subject of polity. Okay, so when we talk about education, so which are the various articles within Indian constitution which deal with the topic of education? So let us list down them. तो यहाँ पे मैंने इन सारे आर्टिकल्स को एक साथ कर दिया है. Article 21A, now all of you must know about it. Article 21A is a fundamental right. Okay, it was introduced by the 86th Amendment Act. Okay, which introduced the right to education. Okay, so education was made a legal right for the age group of 6 to 14 years. That is, elementary education is a legal right in India. Next is DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy. Now we know that DPSPs are non-enforceable and non-justiciable, but still they put a moral obligation on the state to work in the field of education. So Article 39F and Article 45. These are the two DPSPs which deal with education. Okay, the point I want to make is by giving this data is, see, whenever you are studying current affairs, if it is related to any of the subjects, so we need to study the static part or the basic part of that subject as well. तो जैसे अगर हम अभी एजुकेशन की बात करें, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, तो डेफिनेटली वी नीड टू कवर इट विद द और वी नीड टू लिंक इट विद अवर सब्जेक्ट्स ऑल्सो. सो पॉलिटी में इसका रेफरेंस आता है. ओके, सो हमने पॉलिटी के सारे आर्टिकल्स इसमें एक साथ कर दिए. नाउ 42nd Amendment Act of 1976, it moved education from the state list towards the concurrent list. So again, a very important part. You all know that there are three types of list: union list, state list, and concurrent list. Okay, what is the importance of it? The subjects which are under union list, only the central government can make laws on it. Next is the subjects which are under state list, only the state government can make laws on it. ठीक है, but the subjects which are in concurrent list, तो इस पे क्या कन्वेंशन किया जाता है? The union government generally comes with the laws and the state government are the one who implement it. So flexibility is given to states while implementation. तो एजुकेशन के बारे में भी कुछ ऐसा ही है. The union government comes with the broad framework and the broad policy, and the respective state government implements it. Okay, but it is given flexibility via implementation. Just to give you one example, ये हमने एक example यहाँ पे discuss किया है. Okay, the educational policies introduced by the central government. Now the central government expects that every state has to follow a three language formula, that is English, Hindi and the mother tongue. But okay, see, Tamil Nadu did not follow it. Okay, because it was not made mandatory. तो जैसा हमने डिस्कस किया, the state governments are given flexibility in the implementation as per the geography, terrain, as per the culture, etc. तो इसे एक थोड़ा सा flexibility दिया जाता है. ठीक है. So this is what is about the polity part of this topic. ठीक है. चलो, now let us see the broad pillars of NEP 2020. Okay, again देखिए, this is again an exam area. So this all the pillars. ओके हमें इसको एग्जाम के लिए याद रखना है. वी हैव टू रिकॉल देम, वी हैव टू स्टडी देम, और आई विल से वी हैव टू लर्न बाय हार्ट व्हिच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग एरियाज आर टच्ड बाय द न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी. सो व्हेनेवर यू विल वॉच द रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर, तो आपके बुक में इसका नोट्स बना लीजिए और आपको एग्जाम के लिए इसे याद भी रखना है. ठीक है. सो नाउ व्हाट वी विल डू इज वी विल सी द बेसिक फीचर्स, जिसे डेप्थ में एक्सप्लेन करना है या स्टडी करना है वो तो हम करेंगे. तो ये जो सारे फीचर्स है न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के, we will try to see what exactly it covers. जैसे for example, now it talks about reforms in the early childhood care and education. So exactly what type of reforms it wishes to introduce, ये हम देखेंगे. ठीक है. What are the changes made in the curriculum framework? Okay, what it says about the higher educational institutions in India. So we will discuss in depth all the features of this new education policy. Starting with the first one, that is the early childhood care and the curriculum. School education के बारे में बात करेंगे. Okay, now see, यहाँ पे we will come across certain facts and figures. Now definitely for exam it is a strict yes that we have to remember the numbers and the figures for the examination. ठीक है. We will take one example. Now one target is about the universalization of education. If we look at the literacy rate, if we look at the enrollment rate, तो हमें अभी भी ये मिलता है that in many of the remote corners of India, okay, the penetration of the elementary education till date has not happened. So many of the children, they are left out of the education system. So now what we want a 100% gross enrollment ratio till 2030. So definitely we have to remember this as a target. ठीक है. देखिए, percentage भी याद रखना है. What is GR? GR is the gross enrollment ratio, and definitely year भी याद रखना है. Okay, so target क्या है? Percentage as well as year we need to remember for the examination. So 100% GR at what level? Preschool and the secondary level. Second is with respect to open schooling. So those children who had already enrolled but they have dropped the education, या जिसका enrollment हुआ ही नहीं है. So bringing such children, so 2 crore children are to be brought back into mainstream. तो ये वो बच्चे हैं जिन्होंने एजुकेशन शुरू तो किया था, जिनका RTE के अंदर एक्सेट्रा या गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स में, पब्लिक स्कूल्स में एडमिशन तो हुआ था, बट ड्यू टू वन और द अदर रीजन दे हैड लेफ्ट देयर education. So again bringing them back into the educational stream. Okay, this is what we mean by the second target of open schooling. Next is initial 3 to 6 years. Now see, these years are very important for any child because these are the years in which the mental faculty of the child is to be developed. So Anganwadi centers will be given special powers, or I will say will be given special training, special aid from the government, okay, for schooling these children of 3 to 6 years. Okay, तो ये भी याद रखिए, यहाँ पे आंगनवाड़ी centers are going to play a very important role. Okay, you must have heard about the आशा workers. तो just to give you example, जब ये पोलियो campaigns चलते हैं, ठीक है, तो बहुत बार हमारे घर पे भी लोग आते हैं, okay, asking about whether there are small children in the house. So many of the times these are the ASHA workers, okay, who basically work with respect to the different type of health policies or other policies of government. So here also within the Anganwadi stages, the ASHA workers or the other workers of the government, they are going to play a very significant role. Okay, next is about talking about the 10th and the 12th standard exams. Now, what has happened with respect to education system in India? 10th and 12th, these are considered to be very prestigious or we can say जैसे बहुत सिग्निफिकेंट ईयर्स है किसी भी चाइल्ड के डेवलपमेंट में. बट इसके वजह से क्या हो रहा है, जो बाकी ग्रेड्स है जैसे 7th, 8th, 9th, इसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं दिया जाता. सो दिस टू आर ओनली कंसिडर्ड टू बी द मोस्ट प्रेस्टिजियस ईयर. तो ये सिस्टम भी चेंज करना है, एंड इंस्टेड ऑफ दिस अ 3-tier सिस्टम इज टू बी इंट्रोड्यूस्ड. ओके, दैट इज इन 3rd स्टैंडर्ड, 5th स्टैंडर्ड एंड 7th स्टैंडर्ड. ओके, सो ये जो हमने दो ही बेंचमार्क रखे थे 10th एंड 12th, इसे थोड़ा सा चेंज किया जाएगा. And we will have a different system of 3, 5 and 7. Okay, so the review or the progress of the child at the different stages When the child is in third standard, fifth standard, seventh standard, 10th standard, 12th standard, ये थोड़ा सा देखा जाएगा, ठीक है. So this reforms will be to test the core competency of the child rather than memorizing facts. अभी बहुत बार हम देखते हैं, if we talk about the different examinations, so instead of checking the knowledge of the candidate, okay, it is just a test of the information कि कोई भी व्यक्ति एक बुक पढ़ के कितना समय तक डेटा याद रख सकता है. So that becomes the feature of the exam if it is a totally factual based examination. तो वैसा ना करके, जैसे अभी आपके कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स होते हैं, all of you are aspiring for NDA, CDS, UPSC, MPSC exams. So we see that majority of the time the questions in this exam, these are not fact based questions, but these are conceptual questions. Okay, conceptual questions क्यों important है? Because they test the core competency of the child. Okay, so be मतलब congratulate yourself because you are preparing for this examination. So these examinations are also building your core competencies. ठीक है, तो it is not a only merely information based exam. तो ये भी कुछ कोर करिकुलम में इंट्रोड्यूस करने की बातें एनईपी करता है. Okay, talking about RTA, Right to Education Act, a very important reform in this, we will try to understand. See, currently when we talk about Right to Education Act, it talks about making education a legal right, but for which children? Okay, those children who are in the age bar of 6 to 14 years. Okay, so you can understand that when we talk about right to education in India, it is a right, it is a legal right, but for the age group of 6 to 14 years. तो इसमें एक बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन आ जाता है, then what about the pre-schooling years? Okay, that is 3 to 6 years. इसके बारे में क्या किया जाए? So it was suggested, बहुत सारे कमिटीज ने गवर्नमेंट को इस पे इनपुट्स दिए थे, that this age bar of 3 to 6 years should also be clubbed with RTA. So now finally this reform has been accepted. ठीक है, तो now RTA has to cover 3 to 18 years. Okay, earlier क्या था? 6 to 14 years. अभी क्या है? 3 to 18 years. So this is an important change in the right to education act. ठीक है, तो ये थोड़ा सा आपके पॉलिटी के बुक्स में भी इसे एडिट कर लेना है. Okay, there's a question from I think Vikrant. Okay, when will this education policy be actually implemented? See, bits of this policy has already started to be implemented. जैसा मैंने कहा, why we have taken this topic, क्योंकि लास्ट ईयर अगस्त में ये पॉलिसी इंप्लीमेंट की गई थी. अभी इसके जो कुछ फीचर्स हमने देखे, ये ऑलरेडी एक साल में इंप्लीमेंट किए हैं. ठीक है, बिकॉज सी ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड इट, ये सारे फीचर्स हम एक साथ इंप्लीमेंट नहीं कर सकते. इट इज अ चेंज इन द एजुकेशन और ओवरऑल चेंज इन द एजुकेशनल सिस्टम. ठीक है, तो इसके हमें कुछ पॉलिसी इफेक्ट्स भी मिलेंगे. मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ वी मेक सर्टेन चेंजेस इन द एज ग्रुप ऑफ 3 to 6 years, ओके, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि द चेंजेस स्टे लिमिटेड ओनली टू दिस ईयर. इट विल हैव अ इम्पैक्ट, इट विल हैव अ कैस्केडिंग इफेक्ट ऑन द अदर स्टैंडर्ड्स आल्सो. सो बिट बाय बिट दिस पॉलिसी विल स्टार्ट इंप्लीमेंटिंग. ठीक है, बट ये जो हमारे टारगेट्स है, जैसे हमने जीआर देखा 100% जीआर बाय 2030, इस पे काम होना ऑलरेडी शुरू हो गया है. ओके, चलो लेट अस गो टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. तो आरटी में क्या चेंजेस आएंगे ये आप समझ गए. नेक्स्ट इज द करिकुलर फ्रेमवर्क. ओके, नाउ दिस वाज मच डिस्कस, दैट इज द 5+3+3 and 4. ओके, अभी हमारा क्या सिस्टम है? 10+2 सिस्टम, दैट इज 10th स्टैंडर्ड एंड 12th स्टैंडर्ड. ओके, तो इसे चेंज किया जाएगा. सो लेट अस मूव अवे फ्रॉम द 10+2 सिस्टम. ओके, इससे हमें कहां पे जाना है? 5+3+3+4 करिकुलर. लेट अस ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. सो फर्स्ट 5 years, ओके, दिस विल बी कंसिडर्ड टू बी द फाउंडेशनल ईयर्स और द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट ईयर्स इन अ स्टूडेंट लाइफ. ओके, तो इसका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कैसा है? 3 years ऑफ आंगनवाड़ी and next 2 years of standard first and second standard. Okay, so this 3 years, जैसा हमने पहले बार में डिस्कस किया, this will talk about the development of the mental faculty of the child. So these are considered to be the most important period in the mental development of the child. Okay, second standard के बाद next 3 years, these are considered to be the preparatory year. So activity based interactive learning. देखिए, today when we talk about the learning system in India, it is more of okay, chalo, let us resume. So first 3 years activity based learning, because now the kind of educational model that we see basically in the school, so it is more of a teacher centric model. Teacher centric model matlab kya? Okay, where a teacher comes with a teaching plan, etc., and whatever the teacher wants to say or whatever the teacher wants to teach, okay, वहां तक ही ये limited है. ठीक है, तो इसमें कोई इंटरेक्टिव सेशंस नहीं है. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल, जैसे हम सेमिनार्स देखते हैं या ग्रुप डिस्कशंस देखते हैं या स्टूडेंट एक्टिविटी मिनिमम है. So we want to change this teacher centric model to a learner centric model. ठीक है, तो learner centric model is more of activity based model. तो इसमें आपको ग्रुप डिस्कशंस मिलेंगे, डिबेट्स मिलेंगे, प्रोजेक्ट्स मिलेंगे, सेमिनार्स मिलेंगे, यूज ऑफ आईसीटी, शोइंग ऑफ द वीडियो लेक्चर्स, पॉडकास्ट एक्सेट्रा, ये सारी चीजें इसमें इंक्लूड होगी. ओके, सो स्टूडेंट विल पार्टिसिपेट मोर. दिस इज व्हाट वी मीन बाय द एक्टिविटी बेस्ड इंटरेक्टिव लर्निंग. नेक्स्ट इज द मिडल स्टेज, next 3 years of middle stage. एक्सपेरिमेंटल लर्निंग इन साइंस, मैथ्स, आर्ट्स एक्सेट्रा। ठीक है, तो जैसा हमने इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच की बात की थी, तो यहाँ पे इसी का इंट्रोडक्शन किया जाएगा। सपोज if any particular person wants to make a career in science, no problem about it, okay, but the same person has the interest in some other fields also। ठीक है, तो ऐसा नहीं कि that interest is only limited to making a career, जिसे हम कहते हैं area of interest, that person wants to learn more about that field, not necessary that the person wants to make a career but learn more about that field। okay, तो इसके बारे में एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन इन 3 सालों में किया जाएगा। okay, that is we can say that you here it is more about tingling with the curiosity of the child। okay, and the last 4 years secondary education, now see this will be a multidisciplinary study। okay, so current education system that is more rigid। okay, that is when you choose any particular field, जैसे अगर हम engineering के field ले लेते हैं, so majority of the subjects are related to the domain। okay, if I can recall a few subjects like environmental science were introduced। okay, but बाकी सारे subjects से हम इससे दूर ही रहते हैं। तो वैसा नहीं, rather than that we will have a flexible approach, okay, where student can choose the different subjects by staying in a same field। so there will be a choice of core subjects and peripheral subjects। okay, so this is introduced to develop critical thinking, an element of flexibility and students choice of subject। okay, so more and more, as I said you, the more and more the model will become learner centric। okay, shifting from the teacher centric to the learner centric model। so these are the changes which are introduced in the curricular framework। okay, तो अभी का जो rigid model है 10+2, इसमें थोड़े से बदलाव लाए जाएंगे। okay, next is the regulatory structure। अभी ये थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल है, but we have to understand or we have to remember this। okay, I have tried to make it easy, we will take it in a question format only। how does the national education policy 2020 change the current scenario? okay, now as we discussed in the earlier part, NEP also talks about changing the regulatory mechanism, okay, of education। okay, regulatory mechanism क्यों चाहिए? देखिए, अगर हम जैसे now for your examination itself, if you want to appear for any examination conducted by UPSC or MPSC, तो एक criteria रहता है that you can have a degree from any regular course or from a correspondence course, no problem, but your degree should be UGC recognized। okay, अभी ऐसा क्यों है? See, when we talk about this UGC, University Grants Commission, why UGC recognized? Because there are many universities who issue degree। अभी recently आपने न्यूज में पढ़ा रहेगा, almost some around 20 to 23 universities who were issuing fake degrees। तो ये इसे पकड़ा गया या इसे बंद किया गया। so when we talk about a degree which is recognized by UGC, तो ये क्या assure करती है? that okay, all the minimum standards of education were followed by that university। so that university, college, only if they follow the minimum standards which are prescribed by UGC, तभी ही यूजीसी उस कॉलेज को या उस यूनिवर्सिटी को क्या करती है? रिकॉग्नाइज करती है। ठीक है, सो इट एंश्योर्स स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन, इन सिंपल वर्ड्स इट एंश्योर्स द अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन ऑफ दैट एकेडमिक कोर्स। ओके, देखिए कि अब एनईपी से कैसे चेंज करेगा? इंस्टेड ऑफ हैविंग मल्टीपल रेगुलेटर्स, तो अभी कैसा है कि फॉर इंजीनियरिंग वी हैव दिस, और टेक्निकल एजुकेशन वी हैव AICTE। ठीक है, देन विद इन यूजीसी वी आल्सो हैव NAC। नाउ NAC gives accreditation to the colleges। okay, grades देता है ये A+, B etc। and UGC which also issues grants plus maintains the standardization of the colleges। ठीक है, तो अलग अलग रेगुलेटर है। इन सिंपल टर्म्स देयर आर डिफरेंट रेगुलेटर्स फॉर डिफरेंट सेक्शंस। तो ये मॉडल चेंज करके वी विल हैव वन यूनिफॉर्म रेगुलेटर। द नेम ऑफ दिस रेगुलेटर विल बी हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया। ठीक है, तो ये सारे जो हम देख रहे हैं अभी, यूजीसी, NAC, AICTE, ये चले जाएंगे और इनके जगह एक अम्ब्रेला रेगुलेटर आ जाएगा विच इज कॉल्ड एज द हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया। इट वुड बी द सोल गवर्निंग बॉडी। ठीक है, तो नाउ करंटली UGC is a separate autonomous institution, AICTE is a separate autonomous institution, NAC is a separate autonomous institution। तो ये निकल जाएंगे and one umbrella regulator। ठीक है, now what will be there within HECI? So within HECI, the first vertical will be National Higher Education Regulatory Council। now what this will do? This will take care of the teachers training program and the educational department। now see, one thing is very fundamental that okay, सिर्फ colleges को minimum standards prescribe करके नहीं चलेगा। end of the day, the lecturer or the teacher who is imparting education, that person should have that quality। if the teacher is not able to maintain the quality, then it is of no use। so currently there are certain courses which are developed by NCERT which talks about the teacher training program। तो ये powers NCERT से लेके, जैसे हमने कहा कि there will be now one umbrella regulator, this will be given to the NHERC। so it will take care, now this vertical within HECI will take care of the teachers training and the educational department। second vertical of HECI will be नैक, नेशनल एक्रेडिएशन काउंसिल। सो ये क्या करेगा, जो अभी का एक ऑटोनोमस इंस्टीट्यूशन है नैक, इसे रिप्लेस कर देगा। इन दोनों में डिफरेंस यही है, काम ये भी वही करेगा, इट विल गिव ग्रेड्स टू द कॉलेजेस बेस्ड ऑन देयर परफॉर्मेंस, बट दिस न्यू नैक एनएसी विल बी अंडर एचईसीआई। ठीक है, ये जो करंट नैक है, जो पुराना वाला नैक है, इट इज ऑटोनोमस बॉडी वर्किंग विद इन द परव्यू ऑफ यूजीसी। तो ये थोड़ा सा एक रेगुलेटरी मैकेनिज्म, या आप कहोगे कि इसका एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव मैकेनिज्म थोड़ा सा चेंज किया गया। नेक्स्ट इज द हायर एजुकेशनल ग्रांट्स काउंसिल। So what this will do, this will overtake UGC or this will change UGC. अभी के लिए grants कौन दे रहा है? It is given by UGC. So UGC will be abolished and this HEGC is been introduced. Okay. अभी यूजीसी के बारे में थोड़ा सा क्रिटिसिज्म था that the grants that it gives to the different colleges, okay, it is not done in a very transparent manner, क्योंकि हम देखते हैं there are many of the politicians who have their own educational institutions etc. So with respect to the transparency of funding, there were certain doubts or there were certain criticism. So now HEGC will try to implement the same policy in a more transparent manner. And the last vertical is General Education Council. What it will do, it will focus on the student learning outcomes. देखिए बहुत बार हमें एसआर के भी रिपोर्ट्स आते हैं दैट ओके दो स्टूडेंट्स, इवन दो मतलब स्कूल्स तो चल रहे हैं, प्राइमरी स्कूल्स तो चल रहे हैं एक्सेट्रा, बट स्टूडेंट्स हु आर इन 5th स्टैंडर्ड 6th स्टैंडर्ड, they are not able to solve the maths problems or first second standard, they are not able to read the textbook of first or second standard. So point is, okay, this students are there in the school, they are upgraded to 6th or 7th standard, but basically they do not have the alphabetical or the numeric literacy. ठीक है, so this talks about the feature of quality of education. So ये जो फोर्थ वर्टिकल है जनरल एजुकेशन काउंसिल, इट विल टॉक अबाउट द लर्निंग आउटकम्स। ठीक है, मतलब ये जो वेरियस स्कूल्स है, लेट इट बी अ प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशन और लेट इट बी अ पब्लिक इंस्टीट्यूशन, both of them maintains the quality of education, because without which the education or the student who is coming out of that school or college, okay, the quality of education or his knowledge base will be very limited. ठीक है, so this talks about setting, ये जो हमने चार verticals देखे, they basically talk about the accountability of the schools and colleges, standardization of the education, and lastly about the regulatory mechanism, changes in the regulatory mechanism. ठीक है, तो एग्जाम के लिए आपको इन चारों वर्टिकल्स का नाम याद रखना है। नेम ऑफ द अम्ब्रेला ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, that is Higher Education Commission of India, and all the 4 verticals and their functions. देखिए ये जो ऐसे वाले क्वेश्चंस है, ये मैच द कॉलम के फॉर्मेट में भी आते हैं। तो एक तरफ आपको सारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस का नाम दिया रहेगा, एंड एट द अदर एंड देयर विल बी द फंक्शंस व्हाट दे डू। तो ऐसे वाले आपको मैच द कॉलम के फॉर्मेट में क्वेश्चंस आ सकते हैं। नेक्स्ट, टॉकिंग अबाउट द न्यू इंस्टीट्यूशन, creation of a new institution, that is National Research Foundation. Okay, now National Research Foundation, which will be a autonomous body which will administer mentoring, funding and capacity building of quality research in India. Now when we talk about R&D in India, so बहुत बार criticism किया गया है that the funding which the Indian government gives, the budgetary allocation for research and development in India, this funding is very low. Okay, इसको हमेशा हम percentage of GDP में देखते हैं। ये जो अमाउंट है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से जो पैसा दिया जाता है फॉर रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट इन वेरियस फील्ड्स, so this funding is very low when we compare ourselves with other countries like China, Israel, US, etc. This funding percentage is very low. ठीक है, so a new institution will be formed. It will take care about the mentoring, funding and capacity building of the research. Next is educational governance. Okay, so one more apex body for education, that is Rashtriya Shiksha Ayog, or its English name is National Education Commission. ठीक है, a new National Education Commission which will be directly under the Prime Minister. Okay, this will be institutionalized or this will be established for governing the entire education system, that is from 3 years to the higher education. So this body will take care of the same. इसका याद रखिए, it will be headed by the Prime Minister. So in exam you will also come across such questions that National Education Commission, this body is under the chairmanship of, so there will be different options, Prime Minister, President, Educational Minister, Educational Secretary. तो ये हमें याद रखना है। ठीक है, now this itself, here itself in educational governance, it has been suggested that the name of Ministry of HRD is to be changed to Ministry of Education. Okay, next talking about financing education. Okay, doubling the public investment in education is also been recommended. ठीक है, देखिए अभी क्या हो रहा है, एनईपी इंसिस्टेड दैट एक्सपेंडिचर ऑफ 6% ऑफ द जीडीपी ऑन एजुकेशन। अभी के इसमें अगर हम देखें, सो इट इज अराउंड 2 to 3%। ठीक है, सो 2 to 3%, दैट डबलिंग इट, ऑलमोस्ट मेकिंग इट 6% ऑफ द जीडीपी। दिस स्पेंडिंग इज टू बी डन ऑन वेरियस facets ऑफ education. Doubling the current 10% public expenditure to 20% is been recommended. ठीक है, so finance is a very important parameter. Otherwise whatever schemes that we introduced in education, इसका implementation ज्यादा effective नहीं रहेगा अगर हम इसको finance नहीं करते। ठीक है, so finance also remains a very important tool with respect to education. Next is National Mission of Education through ICT. Again a very important thing. Now during the pandemic itself we have seen that a majority of the institutions within the educational sector, or all, they had to reform from the offline to the online mode. But hua kya, see, this was very much possible in the city areas or in the urban areas, but those areas where the internet penetration is too low or where the affordability of the education is low, वहां पे ICT पे transform करना बहुत difficult हो गया. Okay, so the term that we use for this is digital divide. Okay, so ये digital divide, this was we can say very profoundly experienced within India. So now NEP suggested setting up of an autonomous body. Autonomous body means a body which has its own powers, okay, for deployment, induction, and use of technology within education. So this is also a very important point. Okay, name of the body will be National Education Technology Forum. और ये क्या काम करेगा? Okay, see, it will also include the virtual laboratories in various disciplines, providing remote access. Remote access means in those areas where the educational system has not penetrated as of now. That is a digital education. So all in all, we will see more ICT tools, okay, coming up in this region, especially in the rural areas or those areas which have remained untouched with the use of ICT. ओके, तो ये सारे जो भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस नए बनने वाले हैं, जैसे नेशनल एजुकेशन टेक्नोलॉजी फोरम, तो इनके नाम और इनका ऑब्जेक्टिव हमें एग्जाम के लिए याद रखना होगा. Okay, talking about the vocational courses, again very important. Now it has been suggested by NEP 2020 that from classes 9 to classes 12 must receive vocational education in one or the other vocation. Okay, and these vocational courses are to be chosen as per the prescriptions of National Skill Qualification Framework. Okay, see, whenever we talk about removing India from poverty, so there are three important things that we require. Okay, first is taking care of the education of the citizens. Second is taking care about the health of the citizens, and third is talking about taking care of the skill development of the citizens itself. ठीक है, इसका मतलब सिर्फ थियोरेटिकल एजुकेशन लेके ओके बात नहीं बनेगी. If we want high paid jobs, because if we look at the current economy, the current economy is termed as the knowledge economy. So that person who takes more knowledge, and that knowledge as in the knowledge which is more relevant, industry oriented knowledge, okay, these are the individuals which will be earning good in this economy. So if we look at it only from the economic perspective, development of vocational courses, development of skill is very important. So from 9 to 12 standard, recommended skills will be given. देखिए, skills मतलब सिर्फ ऐसा मत सोचिए, okay, for example plumbing, carpentry, not, no, these are not the only skills. We talk about different skills. For example, soft skills, okay, if we take about English speaking courses, or if we talk about the software development languages, etc., these are considered to be soft skills. तो इसके बारे में learning about the machine learning, artificial intelligence, etc., these are also considered to be skills. So this will be introduced from 9 to 12 standard. Okay, और कौन से skills देने हैं, किस फॉर्मेट में देने हैं, उसका स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन क्या रहेगा, उसके एग्जामिनेशंस कैसे रहेंगे, दिस विल बी प्रिस्क्राइब्ड बाय नेशनल स्किल्स क्वालिफिकेशन framework. Okay, so this talks about the skill development or the vocational courses introduced from 9 to 12 standard. And lastly but most important, 3 language formula. देखिए, इस language also plays a very critical role. अभी अगर हम 3 language policy की बात करें, so 3 language policy talks about the uniformity of the language, that is English and Hindi and any other language, basically the mother tongue of that region. But इसका problem क्या हुआ? This 3 language policy is criticized, or we can say it is not implemented at all in the southern region of India. So they do not believe in inculcation of Hindi. ठीक है, तो ये ancient time से चलते आ रहा है, आर्यन वर्सेस द्रविड़वाद. ठीक है, तो अभी थोड़ा सा एक समझेंगे. Now what is the more important part of it? Okay, देखिए, अभी 3 language formula को थोड़ा सा modify किया गया है इसमें. तो ये क्या कहता है, modified formula क्या कहता है, that in the southern states of India, the 3 languages should be like this, that is English, Hindi, and any other state language. Okay, that is the mother tongue of that region. But in the northern region, okay, it should be English. ठीक है, वहां पे मदर टंग तो बेसिकली हिंदी ही होता है, Okay, English, Hindi, and one South language. Okay, that is one South language has to be introduced in the northern region. So this will lead to the spread of the southern languages in North India and northern languages in South India. So this is a minor modification which has been introduced in the three language formula with respect to education. तो एक जो सदर्न स्टेट्स का एक क्रिटिसिज्म था या एक एक्रीमनी थी विद रिस्पेक्ट टू हिंदी, तो ये इसमें ये सोचा गया कि शायद ये थोड़ा सा कम हो जाए. Okay, so these are the various features of the NEP 2020. Very important for the examination. थोड़ा सा फैक्चुअल पार्ट है, इसको आपको क्रैम अप करना पड़ेगा या लर्न करना पड़ेगा. देयर इज नो अदर चॉइस. तो आप इसके नोट्स, माइक्रो नोट्स बना लीजिए और जितना ज्यादा आप इसे रिवाइज करेंगे, लर्न करेंगे, उतना ज्यादा आपको ये याद होगा. सी दिस इज ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ योर सिलेबस. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट एनडीए सीडीएस एग्जाम्स, तो जब हम एसएसबी इंटरव्यू जीडी के लिए जाएंगे तो ग्रुप डिस्कशन में एजुकेशन रिलेटेड, एग्रीकल्चर रिलेटेड, इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज, नेशनल सिक्योरिटी, आईआर, इस पे आपको टॉपिक्स रहते हैं. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट यूपीएससी सिविल सर्विसेज एग्जाम, जीएस पेपर 2, if we talk about MPSC exam, HRD paper 3. So education is a part of your syllabus anywhere. आप कोई भी एग्जाम्पल ले लीजिए, ऐसा कोई भी आपको एग्जाम नहीं मिलेगा जिसमें एजुकेशन रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस आपको नहीं आएंगे. एंड एज दिस इज अ स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स, तो माइनर डिटेल्स भी हमको इसके याद रखने हैं. Okay, now let us see some concerns. What can be the shortcomings of NEP 2020? So with respect to the target selection, इसके थोड़े targets देख लेते हैं. 50% gross enrollment ratio in higher education and 100% GR in secondary education. Okay, so even though these targets are very laudable, these are very welcome targets. Okay, no problem about it. But looking at the current situation, तो देखिए 50% तक हमें लेके जाना है GR. Currently in higher education, only 25.8% GR is achieved. Okay, and in secondary education only 68%. So bringing it from 68% to 100% by 2030. तो ये थोड़ा सा नॉन रियलिस्टिक लग रहा है. अगर इसे हमें रियलिस्टिक बनाना है तो एफर्ट्स हैव टू कम फ्रॉम बोथ यूनियन गवर्नमेंट एज वेल एज द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. ओके, नेक्स्ट इज R&D, रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट. सो NEP वांट्स दैट मोर टेंजिबल एंड रियलाइजेबल टारगेट्स आर टू बी अचीव्ड. देखिए, टोटल इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑफ रिसर्च एंड इनोवेशन इन इंडिया हैज डिक्लाइंड फ्रॉम 0.8% ऑफ GDP टू 0.6% इन 2018. ठीक है, तो टारगेट तो कह रहा है कि इसे हमें 6% तक लेके जाना है, 6% ऑफ जीडीपी. बट अभी हमारी करंट पोजीशन क्या है? फ्रॉम 0.84 वी आर मूविंग टू 0.6, दैट इज वी आर ऑन अ डिक्लाइनिंग ट्रेंड. ठीक है, इसका अगर हम एग्जांपल देखें, देयर आर करंटली ओनली 15 रिसर्चर्स इन अ पॉपुलेशन ऑफ 1 lakh, whereas the same number in China is 111. ठीक है, so if we have a comparative analysis with China, then the figures are not very encouraging. Next is talking about the political interference. This is also a very important point. See, एक तरफ NEP बात करती है to give autonomy to the higher educational institutions. Okay, so at one time we are giving them freedom, we are giving them independence. But what is happening? Majority of the higher education institutions, okay, some or the other were on the board, okay, in the management, etc. Okay, there are persons who are attached with the political agenda. या politicians है, इनके colleges होते हैं, etc. तो होता क्या है यहाँ पे देखिए, student organize campaigns. Okay, they forget their own objective, that why they had joined the college, and they start beginning development, or they start begin to develop their career within politics. इसका आप एक बेस्ट एग्जांपल देख लीजिए, JNU. Now JNU has also given, ऐसा नहीं कि there is a problem with the university, it has given finest officers to India. देखिए, जैसे external affairs minister S Jaishankar ji, he is also a product of JNU. But at the same time there are also many notorious elements. ठीक है, तो आपको पता ही रहेगा, you must have heard about the टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग एक्सेट्रा. सो दे आर ऑल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ JNU. तो ये बाकी सारी चीजें भूल गए. दे आर जस्ट यूजिंग JNU एज अ लॉन्च पैड, ओके, टू अचीव देयर ओन political agenda. You take the example of Kanhaiya Kumar, the same story. He used JNU as a launch pad, now he is into politics. ठीक है, तो political interference भी है, where the core objectives of the education are somewhere overshadowed by the political agenda. Next is talking about the quality of education. So definitely the quality of education in India has to, there is no choice, but it has to improvise. Okay, so we want well qualified teachers for this. Otherwise there is no use. If the teacher is only focusing on imparting information, it is of no use. Information is something जो आप खुद बुक में पढ़ के भी जान सकते हैं. See, books give you information. Okay, teacher is the one who should give you knowledge. This way, so that should be the role of the teacher. Teacher should make you read between the lines. यही उस टीचर का काम होता है. This way, okay, so we want such teachers who will basically help in the holistic development of the student. And last is talking about the digital divide. Again, a very important pattern. And this digital divide, देखिए digital divide में क्या होता है? When we talk about the ICT based, that is internet, this internet communication technology based services. सिंपल ले लीजिए, द जूम लेक्चर दैट यू आर वाचिंग नाउ इज अ आईसीटी बेस्ड टूल ऑफ एजुकेशन, ठीक है. बट ये अर्बन एरियाज में बहुत अच्छे से अवेलेबल है. बट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द रूरल एरियाज, माइट बी इंटरनेट पेनिट्रेशन, the speed of internet, the gadgets available, affordability of internet and the gadgets. So this is a huge problem in the rural area. So this is what we mean by digital divide. Okay, where one area is effectively using internet for its betterment, but other area is devoid of the internet based services. This is the meaning of digital divide. Okay, so especially in the rural India, lack of internet penetration shall prove a challenge for the implementation of NAP. So government has to parallelly work on penetration of mobile telephony and penetration of internet in the rural or untouched area. तो ये कुछ शॉर्टकमिंग्स है, या हम कहेंगे these are certain areas where the government should have a concern or bother to improvise. इसके थोड़े मेरिट्स भी देख लेते हैं. दिस इज द पार्ट ऑफ लास्ट पार्ट ऑफ एनईपी, लुकिंग एट द मेरिट्स. नेशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन, a new organization which is to be created. देखिए, इंडियन एकेडमी had traditionally been focused on R&D without much emphasis on the relevance and delivery. Okay, मतलब रिसर्च तो हो रहा है, बट the research which is happening in the direction, okay, will it help in the betterment of India? Will it help in bettering the socio-economic conditions of India? Okay, betterment of the most deprived sections of the society, taking India on a forefront in the scientific development. तो इस एरिया में रिसर्च हो रहा है क्या? और whatever the research is happening, is it happening with the contemporary times? Okay, तो इसकी suitability भी हमें चेक करनी है. तो ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन क्या करेगा? नेशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन ये क्या करेगा? It is expected to connect our academia with ministries and industries, fund research that is relevant to the local needs. So whatever research is happening, okay, is it trying to bring some kind of betterment in the lives of the people, in the conditions of the people? This is also taken to be care of. Okay, the research, the innovations that are happening, these innovations have to be affordable innovation होना चाहिए. Okay, जैसे अगर हम कोई भी research कर रहे हैं, if it is improving the conditions of the farmer, suppose if it is giving you better quality of seeds, ठीक है, better prediction of weather, तो अगर तो somewhere it is bringing about a change in the lives of the farmer. अभी अब मैंने कल ही एक न्यूज पढ़ा, if we look about the suicides with respect to the farmers, so now there is a change in trend, that is those farmers who are owning land, they are not committing suicide. तो अभी 18% of suicides कौन commit कर रहे हैं जो लास्ट एक साल में हुए? Okay, these are the agricultural laborers. Okay, so the trend has shifted from farmers to the agricultural laborers. And when we talk about the agricultural laborers, okay, these are the landless laborers. So COVID-19 has impacted them more, those laborers or those farmers who do not own the land. तो इन पे ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट हुआ है. तो इनकी परिस्थिति में हम कोई सुधार ला सकते हैं क्या? वाया अवर रिसर्च डेवलपमेंट एंड इनोवेशन. दिस इज व्हाट द नेशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन विल focus on. So this is again a very good move of NAP. Next is multidisciplinary universities. Okay, so bringing unlike minds together in terms of discipline, culture and attitudes. ठीक है, so this is also very important क्योंकि otherwise क्या हो रहा है? We are working in silos. So there are certain organizations which specifically focus only on science and technology. Other organization which focus on humanities. ठीक है, तो इसे थोड़ा सा हमें इंटरमिक्सिंग करना है. That is, two or more dissimilar persons are to be brought together. जिसे हमें composite culture कहते हैं, या bringing 2 or 3 unique minds together so that they can lead to more better solutions. Okay, तो ये multidisciplinary universities हमें follow करने हैं. Okay, in the foreign countries minded, in the foreign countries this pattern already exists. Third is scaling up our existing higher education institutions. ठीक है, तो देखिए इसमें हमारा टारगेट क्या है कि 50% ऑफ ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो हमें 2035 तक लाना है. करंटली हम कहा है? वी आर ऑन 27%. सो 27 to 50. तो अगर हमें ये करना है तो डेफिनेटली न्यू हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस तो आने ही है, ये तो हमें लगेंगे ही. सो गवर्नमेंट हैज ऑलरेडी टेकन स्टेप्स इन दैट डायरेक्शन. फॉरेन इंस्टीट्यूशंस, फॉरेन फंडिंग इन एजुकेशन, फॉरेन इंस्टीट्यूशंस आर वेलकम्ड इन इंडिया. बट जो एग्जिस्टिंग हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस है, okay, even they are to be reformed or they are to be scaled up. Okay, so in this scaling up of existing higher education institutions, the government funding will play a very critical role. This is what we have discussed in the next part, funding for the higher education institutions. ठीक है, तो इसका हमने टारगेट क्या रखा है? 6% ऑफ जीडीपी, इतना पैसा या इतना पैसा बजट के द्वारा हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस को दिया जाएगा. ओके, लास्ट इज द राइट फोकस. NEP 2020 will focus on 3 I's. So please remember these 3 I's. interdisciplinary research, industry connect, and next is internationalism. These are the three pillars which are needed to elevate our institutions. ठीक है, ये टर्मिनोलॉजीज याद रखे, एग्जाम के लिए बहुत बार ये पूछे जाते हैं. So three eyes में what is the meaning of the eye? So interdisciplinary research, industry connect, as well as internationalization. Okay, so these are the few features of or merits of the new education policy 2020. Okay, थोड़ा सा लेंदी टॉपिक है, बट वी हैव डन इट इन डिटेल, तो और इससे ज्यादा डेप्थ में आपको जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. एवरीथिंग रिलेटेड टू द पॉलिसी वी हैव ऑलरेडी covered it. Okay, so from education, let us move to the next news. Next news is about international relations, and it talks about the US support to Taiwan. Again, a very, I can say, a very dynamic international happening which is going on. So let us see what it talks about. The word used by the defense secretary is, he says that there will be a rock solid support to Taiwan against China. Okay, so US has made it quite open. So let us see the features of it. देखिए ट्राई, अगर आप थोड़ा सा एक लैंग्वेज में फर्क अगर आप देखोगे, so US generally talks very directly against China, but the same policy is not used by India. ठीक है, ये क्यों है ये भी हम आगे देखेंगे. Okay, chalo, let us try to understand the issue first. Why this? Why US it came up with this policy support to Taiwan. So basically, you will see that this US policy is nothing but a response to the Chinese aggression in the region. Okay, थोड़ा सा इसके हम background में जाएंगे. We will try to understand it. Now, when we talk about the map of China, when we talk about the trade ambitions of China, so China has a very clear-cut ambition. First, it wants a complete hegemony in the South China Sea. Second, it wants a domination in the Indo-Pacific region. तो ये इसका एक two-fold objective है, ठीक है. Remember it, complete hegemony in the South China Sea region, which is considered to be the backyard of China, and next is a domination on the in the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, Indo-Pacific region, ठीक है. Now, इस ये मकसद अचीव करने के लिए, ये ऑब्जेक्टिव अचीव करने के लिए, there is a water channel which is called as the Strait of Taiwan. Okay, तो आप मैप पे देख लीजिए, between People's Republic of China and Taiwan, there is a water body that is the Strait of Taiwan. So a control over this water body is very much required. ठीक है. So Taiwan is also a disputed region. So Taiwan wants it considers itself as an autonomous island. Okay, but China considered it to be a part of one China policy. तो ये इनका 1949 से झगड़ा शुरू है. So recently China started air aggression in Taiwan. तो आई होप आप में से सब ने इसके बारे में पढ़ा रहेगा. ओके, इन द स्पैन ऑफ अराउंड 2 to 3 days, more than 70 aircraft of China, okay, violated the airspace and they entered into the airspace of Taiwan. So China recently did a very we can say a very blatant air aggression in China. So this was considered to be, or this is termed as military harassment by USA. Okay, China had not ruled out unifying Taiwan by force. So जैसा हमने देखा कि there is a territorial dispute. Taiwan wants its autonomy. It considered itself to be an independent island, but China considers Taiwan to be a part of it. 1949 में वहां पे सिविल वॉर हुआ था, जब से ये डिस्प्यूट चलते आ रहा है. So China still wants to unify Taiwan with itself, and it is not ruling out the option of force. Okay, generally when we talk about unification of any region in today's time, so none of the country wants to use force. It happens democratically. So there can be a plebiscite, there can be voting, etc. But China has not ruled out this option of using force. So if required, जैसे ये air aggression, this Chinese air aggression, use of the Chinese air force, this is considered to be a use or a deterrence value. Okay, now Taiwan president recently said that, or he has confirmed that there is a presence of US boot on grounds, okay, in Taiwan. So ये US ने तो ये नहीं माना है, US has not accepted it, or it has rather not commented on it, because see, bringing US soldiers on a foreign territory, ठीक है, to counter China, तो China will blatantly oppose it. It will be considered to be an act of aggression, ठीक है. तो जैसा China spoke about India during the Doklam crisis, China said that okay, Indian soldiers are already present in Bhutan. तो हमने कह दिया that we are training the Bhutanese army. So Indian army officials which are present over there, they are for the training purpose. Okay, they train the Bhutanese army. ठीक है. So similarly, Taiwan के president क्या कहते हैं कि US soldier boots on ground means what? The soldiers are present on the foreign soil. So US soldiers are already present over there. This statement was made to deter China. या China को डराने के लिए ये statement किया गया. That is, if it tries any kind of an invasion, तो already the US soldiers are present over them to deter it. ठीक है. US to counter the malign PRC influences. ठीक है, malign means something which is considered to be bad. Okay, so PRC मतलब People's Republic of China. So wherever China does any kind of this thing, just not only the muscular aggression, the way it did it in Taiwan. So Taiwan में इन्होंने क्या किया? More than 70 Chinese aircraft entered the Taiwanese airspace. Or if China is giving a loan to any country, ठीक है, in return China is trying to grab land in that country. So any kind of such things which are done by China, so this will be termed as the malign influences. This is the term, new term coined by USA. So wherever China is trying to play all these dirty tricks or dirty tactics, तो हर उस जगह पे यूएस क्या करेगा? उसे काउंटर करेगा. ठीक है. यूएस सपोर्ट टू चाइना विल कम. ओके, प्लीज करेक्ट इट. ये थोड़ा सा वर्ड गलत हो गया यहाँ पे. इट विल बी यूएस सपोर्ट टू ताइवान. ओके, यूएस सपोर्ट टू ताइवान विल कम इन दिस फॉर्म. तो यूएस क्या क्या करेगा? नाउ सी, यूएस बूट्स आर प्रेजेंट ऑन द ग्राउंड, यूएस सोल्जर्स आर प्रेजेंट ऑन द ग्राउंड, ठीक है, बट the responsibility of first line of defense against any kind of Chinese attack, this will be of Taiwan itself. Okay, so the point is to beef up the capacity of Taiwan. So iske liye US kya karega? USA will sell weapons or arms to Taiwan. So this is the beefing up of the weaponry systems of Taiwan. Okay, routine navigation in waters near the Taiwan state. Okay, तो इसके बारे में ही हमने पहला बात किया था. China wants to totally dominate this region. इसके दो फायदा है चाइना को. First is the Taiwan Strait is considered to be a connectivity or a connecting channel between the South China Sea and the Indian Ocean. Second is, if Taiwan Strait is contained by China or if it is dominated by China, okay, definitely then the Taiwan cannot give much resistance to China. So by force China kabhi bhi ise occupy kar sakta hai. Okay, so to counterbalance this, USA will keep its naval presence in the region. So this is what it talks about: routine navigation in the waters near Taiwan, and support Taiwan on its stand on the international stage. So जो ताइवान का स्टैंड है, that it always wants to maintain its autonomous status. It considered itself to be a separate island, an autonomous island. तो ये जो ताइवान का स्टैंड है, इसे यूएस जगह जगह in United Nations or on other international forums, USA will keep supporting it. So this is the form of US support to Taiwan. Okay, so this is the issue of current affairs. So all this started in the backdrop of US entry कब होती है? Okay, when China does this air aggression act. Now let us try to understand the Chinese factor as well. Okay, so see, this image talks about China sends 77 fighter aircrafts in Taiwan in a span of 2 days. Okay, that is why this was termed as the military harassment by China of Taiwan. Okay, let us see the commentary of Xi Jinping. तो Xi Jinping क्या कहते हैं? It tells its navy. Okay, यहाँ पे देखिए, this region of China, this is the South China Sea, this is the Taiwan Strait, okay, and this is the region of Taiwan. ठीक है, तो ये क्या कहते हैं? He tells the Chinese Navy to be ready for war, okay, at the Marine Corps base as the tensions with Taiwan arise. ठीक है, so these statements, okay, this is a part of the warrior wolf diplomacy of China. Such hawkish statements made by the Chinese head Xi Jinping, who is considered to be the most powerful person, who is the secretary of the Communist Party of China as well as the president of China, plus the secretary of the military committee of China. So 3 institutions in one. Okay, when this person is making such hawkish statements, so these are definitely to be taken very seriously. अभी आपको अगर पता रहेगा, recently there was a council held within a China itself. This was the 4th such council. Okay, and this council reiterated or once again endorsed the statement which makes Xi Jinping more powerful. So after Mao and this Deng Xiaoping, Xi Jinping is the 3rd most powerful person or a public figure in China. Okay, so that is why this man has to be taken very seriously whenever he makes any comments. So now let's try to understand the historic conflict between China and Taiwan. तो जो नए से ये इशू देख रहे हैं, ये उनके लिए है. ठीक है, let's try to understand. China and Taiwan are separated amid the Civil War of 1949. Okay, so from 1949, Taiwan considered itself to be an independent island, but China considers Taiwan as a part of its territory, and it is ready to take control of Taiwan by force. So this is the policy of China from 1949. Okay, Taiwanese leaders क्या कहते हैं? Taiwan is a separate sovereign state. Okay, but देखिए, now this international recognition to Taiwan has not been achieved as of now. Okay, but the Taiwanese, they have its own president, own prime minister, so they consider themselves as a separate state. ठीक है, तो इनमें hostile tensions बढ़े रहे, but then situation started improving after 1980. तो 1980s में थोड़ा सा समझौता हो गया. Okay, so China put forward the formula of one country and 2 systems. Okay, under which Taiwan would be given significant autonomy. Okay, and it accepted the Chinese reunification, but Taiwan rejected this offer. So government did relax the visits on चाइनीज ऑफिशियल्स एज वेल एज इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इन चाइना। ठीक है, अभी देखिए क्या हो गया। There were also limited talks between the two sides, unofficial representatives on Beijing's insistence that Taiwan's Republic of China government is illegitimate, prevented government to government contact. ठीक है, now all the things, this conflict, okay, then truce, then again conflict, ये सारी चीजें कब बदल गई? In the year 2020, because in the year 2020 China passed a new national security law, okay, in Hong Kong. अभी ये देखिए क्या कहता है। This law basically talks about extradition of any person from Hong Kong, और इस पे जो केस है या इस पे जो दावा है ये कहाँ चलेगा? इट विल बी इन चाइना, दैट इज द पीपल्स रिपब्लिक ऑफ चाइना। ठीक है, मतलब हांगकांग में ये केस नहीं चलेगा, ये केस कहाँ चलेगा? चाइना में। ठीक है, तो डेफिनेटली अगर ये केस चाइना में चलेगा तो आप एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हो कि इसका रूलिंग या इसका वर्डिक्ट क्या आएगा। ठीक है, सो व्हेन चाइना स्टार्टेड गोइंग हॉकिश विद अदर काउंटर पार्ट्स लाइक तिबेट, like the Xinjiang province in the Hong Kong. Okay, so at that time Taiwan became very cautious. ठीक है, that next will be its own number. और ये जो bitterness है between China and Taiwan, it started increasing, and at the last we know what happened with respect to the air aggression done by China. ठीक है, so this is the story of conflict, truce, and again conflict between China and Taiwan. India-Taiwan relations, just simply to understand why Taiwan is important for India. So definitely it is an enemy of China. So as we go with the strategy of Chanakya, and enemy is our friend. So same scope. Now see, Taiwan is an important geographical entity. There is no doubt about it. If we look at the geographical location of Taiwan, so it lies at the edge of the Indo-Pacific region. Okay, that is the Indian Ocean in the Pacific region. So definitely it can act as a military base in future for refueling of ships, standing of the submarines, etc. So geographical location of Taiwan makes its importance very well. India is already a major focus country in Taiwan's new southbound policy, which was launched in the year 2016. So Taiwan has also recognized India to be a precious country or a significant country for its own political expansion, economic cooperation, as well as people-to-people linkages. Taiwan's reputation as a world leader in semiconductor as well as electronic complements India's leadership in ITC. See, India is considered to be a major country with respect to software exports, with respect to the internet communication technology. Okay, and with respect to the development of hardware of the electronic industry, Taiwan plays a very important role. So दोनों में cooperation complements each other. Taiwan's agro technology as well as food processing technology, okay, can be very beneficial to the Indian agricultural sector. Okay, so in a separate lecture we had studied about Indian agriculture, the problems of Indian agriculture. Okay, we want a feature of value addition in agriculture. So ये सारी चीजें there Taiwan can play a very important role. And Taiwan is an integral part of the regional supply chain mechanism, and trade agreement with Taiwan will help India remain connected to the regional economic dynamism. Okay, see, in the backdrop of COVID-19 pandemic, if you read the speeches of Dr. S. Jaishankar, or if you hear the speeches of him, so you will understand one thing very well, that more and more focus is given to the supply chain resilience. Okay, क्योंकि अभी COVID-19 में क्या हुआ है, majority of the supply chains of the world have got disrupted. The countries have started becoming inward looking. Okay, so supply chain resilience is a key feature in today's world, and Taiwan can play a very important part where India can diversify, or where India can look upon, can trust for the provision of the supplies. तो ये भी एक supply chain resilience का भी एक Taiwan part बन सकता है. ठीक है, so all this makes Taiwan very important for India as well. Okay, chalo, let us move to the third and the last news, understanding about the Australia, UK, USA, a trilateral treaty or a trilateral pact. Okay, you all know about this pact. I think ये और एक current affairs lectures में cover किया गया था. So I will focus only on the current aspect of it, why it is in news, okay, and what are the current statements made by the US Defense Secretary and the Australian Defense Minister. So we will focus on that part only. Okay, let us briefly, जो लोग इसे पहली बार पढ़ रहे हैं या पहली बार सुन रहे हैं और अटेंडिंग द लेक्चर फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम, तो आपको मैं एक ब्रीफ बैकग्राउंड दे देता हूं. नाउ यूएस हैज अनाउंस्ड अ न्यू ट्राइलेटरल सिक्योरिटी पार्टनरशिप, okay, in the Indo-Pacific region. What is this Indo-Pacific region? This term appears in the newspaper many of the time. तो पहले तो समझे Indo-Pacific region मतलब क्या. Indo-Pacific region means those countries which lie between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so आपको क्या करना है, लेक्चर के बाद एटलास ओपन कीजिए, वर्ल्ड मैप ओपन कीजिए, और ऑन कंप्यूटर जस्ट गूगल इट. ठीक है, कंट्रीज बिटवीन इंडियन ओशन एंड Pacific Ocean. So that region map पे जब भी आप देखोगे, those that region is considered to be the Indo-Pacific region. Now, see, earlier the focus of the entire world was on West Asia. Why on West Asia? Because oil, which is of prime importance for any kind of economic development. तो ये oil कहाँ से आता था? West Asia से. But now the focus has moved from West Asia to Indo-Pacific. So today, if we talk about production, about trade agreements, about economic dynamism, so these countries between Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean, these countries are emerging economies or economically very dynamic. Hence, the entire focus is on the Indo-Pacific region. So we have minerals under the ocean, we have polymetallic nodules, we have the hydrocarbon resources, etc., hidden under this region. Okay, so entire focus has been moved towards the Indo-Pacific region. That is what makes it very important. Okay, so a new trilateral security partnership. Now, when we talk about it, देखिए ऑलरेडी एक क्वाड्रिलेटरल मैकेनिज्म हमारे पास है जिसका नाम है क्वाड. सो क्वाड इज एन एग्रीमेंट बिटवीन 4 कंट्रीज, यूएसए, जापान, ऑस्ट्रेलिया एंड इंडिया. बट व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम विद क्वाड? क्वाड इज नॉट अ मिलिटरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. ठीक है, सो ये यूएस ने प्रपोज भी किया था दैट क्वाड हैज टू बी मिलिटराइज्ड, बट ऑस्ट्रेलिया एंड इंडिया बोथ ऑफ देम रिफ्यूज्ड फॉर इट एट दैट टाइम. व्हाई इंडिया रिफ्यूज्ड? बिकॉज इफ वी मिलिटराइज क्वाड, ठीक है, तो अगर हमने इसे मिलिटराइज किया तो देन इट डिटोरेट्स अवर रिलेशनशिप विद चाइना. तो चाइना इससे काफी ज्यादा खफा हो जाएगा. नाउ लुकिंग एट द ज्योग्राफी, सी चाइना इज नॉट अ नेबरिंग कंट्री. चाइना डज नॉट शेयर अ लैंड बॉर्डर with any of this country. It does not share a land border with Japan, neither with Australia, neither with USA. Okay, China immediately shares a land boundary with which country? India. तो इसका सबसे ज्यादा परिणाम किस पे होता था? इंडिया पे. So even though we were a part of this international agreement, international mechanism, but we were looking at all this from the prism of our own national interest. That is why India refused for the militarization of Quad. तो इसका एक अल्टरनेटिव उपाय पाया गया. दिस केम इन द फॉर्म ऑफ दिस ऑकूस एग्रीमेंट. तो इसमें देखिए, इट इज अ ट्राइलेटरल सिक्योरिटी पार्टनरशिप, मींस मिलिटराइजेशन ऑफ दिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कैन बी डन. ठीक है, सो वी हैव ऑस्ट्रेलिया, वी हैव यूके एंड वी हैव यूएसए इन दिस. ठीक है, सो दिस इज द एक्रोनिम फॉर द सेम. नाउ इसमें होने क्या वाला है? इट इज अ एग्रीमेंट इन विच both USA as well as UK will share their maritime technology. Okay, so basically nuclear submarine technology will be forwarded to Australia. अभी ये क्या पहली बार नहीं हो रहा है, इसके पहले भी ये हुआ है इन द बैकड्रॉप ऑफ वर्ल्ड वॉर 2. ठीक है, where USA and UK together have shared their military or defense technologies with any third country. Okay, this time they are doing it with Australia, and the technology which is given to it is very important. That is, it is a nuclear submarine technology. ठीक है, now 3 other countries, एक different organization, that is the Five Eyes Alliance. जब भी ऐसा कोई न्यू ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बनता है तो डेफिनेटली इसके कंट्रीज के नाम हमें याद रखने. जैसे हमने क्वाड में 4 कंट्रीज देखे, ऑकुस में 3 कंट्रीज देखे, फाइव आई अलायंस इसमें कौन है? प्लस कनाडा एंड न्यूजीलैंड. ठीक है, तो यूएसए, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, यूके प्लस कनाडा एंड न्यूजीलैंड, दे ऑलरेडी हैव देयर एक्सटेंसिव इंटेलिजेंस थ्रू दिस. ओके, नेक्स्ट इज transferring nuclear submarines to Australia. As a part of initiative, Australia will acquire nuclear powered submarines from UK and USA. What is the advantage of nuclear powered submarines? They can stay below the water for a very long period of time. Okay, देखिए जैसे 2 टाइप ऑफ सबमरीन्स होते हैं. वन इज अ डीजल पावर्ड सबमरीन, अनदर इज अ न्यूक्लियर पावर्ड सबमरीन. और डीजल पावर्ड सबमरीन का प्रॉब्लम क्या है? इट हैज टू रीसरफेस. ओके, फॉर रिफ्यूलिंग पर्पस इट हैज टू कीप ऑन रीसरफेसिंग. अभी सबमरीन हमें क्यों चाहिए? सबमरीन हैज अ स्टिल्ट वैल्यू. ठीक है, तो इसे छुप के रहना है पानी के नीचे, तो जितना ज्यादा समय रह सकता है उतना ज्यादा उसका एडवांटेज रहेगा. सो दिस इज द एडवांटेज फॉर द ऑस्ट्रेलियन. ऑस्ट्रेलिया इज सेट टू जॉइन एन इलाइट ग्रुप ऑफ ओनली 6 countries which have this capacity, that is India, USA, UK, France, Russia and China. Okay, they operate the nuclear powered submarine. So Australia will be joining it. But Australia has not developed this technology on its own. This technology is provided by USA and UK to Australia. So Australia also becomes a classic example of in the world, a country which has submarine, okay, nuclear powered submarines without having a civilian nuclear power industry. So on the continent or on the land of Australia, we do not have any civilian nuclear power plant, but this becomes a specific where it has a nuclear powered submarines, though gifted by some other countries. Okay, so this is the basics about the organization AUKUS. Now let us try to understand its current affairs factor. Now why it is in news? Okay, now when this initiative was brought in, now recently the ASEAN countries, okay, have raised their concern about AUKUS. अभी ये क्या कहते हैं? See, ASEAN countries, as we know that ASEAN is an example, it is an economic organization. ठीक है, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. ठीक है, it is an economic organization, a very dynamic and emerging economies, export-oriented economies of the region. ठीक है. Now see, China, even though directly it is not a part of ASEAN, but recently a new trade agreement, which was called as the ASEAN RCEP, was signed, and in which China played a very important role. Okay, India has, remember this point, India refused to join the ASEAN RCEP, but China has already joined it. Okay, so definitely China has some stakes in the ASEAN region. Now it has some say in the ASEAN region. ठीक है, तो देखिए ASEAN countries have expressed their concern. First is about the nuclearization of the Australian Navy. Now, if you look at the geographical location of Australia, Australia is a very neighboring or a surrounding region of the ASEAN countries. तो इन्होंने अपना डर महसूस किया है that the nuclearization of the Australian Navy, it disturbs the balance of power in the region. Second is there is a treaty or there is a commitment of these Pacific countries that Pacific Ocean will be a region of free nuclear Pacific zone. ठीक है, but nuclearization of the Australian Navy, it threatens to this commitment. और आप कह सकते हैं कि Australia has broken the commitment. Okay. Also, China is exploiting the ASEAN insecurity. मतलब in simple words, in ASEAN countries को भड़काने का काम कौन करे? China definitely has its proxies in the ASEAN countries. One such proxy is Cambodia. ठीक है, तो इन्हें भड़काने का काम कौन कर रहा है? China. Because you let us try to understand this very well. Any of this initiative, the Five Eyes Alliance or the Quad initiative or the AUKUS initiative, even though ये formally कुछ नहीं कहते, but all these organizations have only one agenda: to counter the rising aggression of China in the region. ठीक है, so China is also exploiting the ASEAN factor. नेक्स्ट लेट अस ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई ऑस्ट्रेलिया एग्रीड फॉर इट रिसेंटली. देखिए, जब क्वाड के मिलिटराइजेशन की बात हो रही थी, सो इंडिया और ऑस्ट्रेलिया दोनों ने इसे रिफ्यूज कर दिया था. तो अभी ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने इस चीज को कैसे मान लिया? लेट अस ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. ओके, अर्लियर आल्सो सी ऑस्ट्रेलियन गवर्नमेंट और ऑस्ट्रेलिया एज अ कंट्री, इट हैज अ हैबिट ऑफ चेरी पिकिंग. चेरी पिकिंग मतलब ओके, जैसे इश्यूज या सिचुएशन चेंज हो जाती है, इमीडिएटली दे चेंज देयर स्टैंड. ठीक है, तो देखिए ऐसा ही हुआ था कुछ पहले, जापानीज एपिसोड ऑफ अटैकिंग द डार्विन port. This was in the year 1942. Okay, when the Japanese attacked Australia, so at that time also they were very concerned. Earlier they thought that if we look at the location of Australia, it does not share a land boundary with any of the country. So it is like a separate or a isolated continent. ठीक है, तो इन्हें लगा था कि हम पे कभी भी हमला नहीं हो सकता या हम किसी से लैंड बाउंड्री शेयर नहीं कर सकते, तो झगड़ा होने का भी कोई सवाल पैदा नहीं होता. ओके, बट देन जापान मेड एन अटेम्प्ट टू कॉलोनाइज और कैप्चर ऑस्ट्रेलिया में 42 में इस पे अटैक हुआ था. So at that time, the Australians started reconsidering their security apparatus. Okay, so this was for the time when Australia took assistance of USA in securing its parameters. Okay, China also recently, to deter Australia, as Australia was a part of the Quad mechanism and there are heavy investment, Chinese investments in Australia. तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया को डराने के लिए, to keep its option very limited in the Quad, China started targeting the Australian export or Australian ट्रेड. बट व्हाट हैपेंड, दिस पॉलिसी रादर बैकफायर्ड. तो चाइना क्या क्या चाहती थी कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया इससे डर जाए, ओके, एंड स्टॉप इट्स एक्टिविटी, या ये जो यूएस की तरफ जा रहा है ये रुक जाना चाहिए. सो इट वाज ट्राइंग टू क्रिएट अ डिटरेंस, बट दिस बैकफायर्ड, दिस पॉलिसी ऑफ चाइना बैकफायर्ड. रादर ऑस्ट्रेलिया स्टार्टेड मूविंग मोर क्लोजर टू यूएसए बिकॉज ऑफ दिस. ठीक है, सो वी कैन से दैट दिस चाइनीज पॉलिसी हैज बूमरैंग्ड ऑन इटसेल्फ और इट हैज backfired. Okay, so this is a crucial factor why Australia decided to join the fact, because China had selectively and aggressively targeted Australia. Okay, next is China's naval expansion in the Indo-Pacific region. This is a concern for everyone. It is not only for Australia, it is for majority of the Southeast Asian countries like Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia. Okay, it is a major concern for India as well. Okay, as we know that there are reports of the Chinese stealth submarines, noise-free submarines, okay, which are located very closer to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay, so China's naval expansion in the Indo-Pacific, this is considered to be a threat not only by Australia but all other countries. So this all made Australia reconsider about its security apparatus, and that is why it decided to join the AUKUS pact. ठीक है, तो ये दो चीजें हमें याद रखनी है, what made Australia sign the pact, and second is the concerns which are raised by the ASEAN countries. Okay, now let us see a last part of it, comparing the AUKUS with Quad. Okay, organizational comparisons पे भी हमें questions आते हैं, especially with respect to their member countries, especially with respect to their objective. Economic organization है, defense related organization है, scientific organization है, इसका purpose क्या है? So let's try to compare them. So they are said to be different yet similar. Similar, why? Because they have a similar agenda of countering China. Okay, why different? Let us try to understand. Now, see, this AUKUS is related only to the Pacific Ocean. But when we talk about the objectives of Quad, Quad focuses on both Indian Ocean as well as the Pacific Ocean. Okay, both focus on one thing, that is China's growing undersea power. Okay, China has both types of submarines. It has nuclear submarines also. It has diesel submarines also. So this power of China should not be underestimated. And there are reports that China has already placed the noise-free submarines in the Indian Ocean as well as in the Pacific Ocean regions also. Okay, see, now currently if we talk about the military power, US is currently, we can say that the largest military power in the world. But China is constantly trying to dominate the US, or constantly trying to challenge this status quo. So अगर हम पैसिफिक आइलैंड के पैसिफिक ओशन के आइलैंड्स देखें, so Chinese naval dominance, okay, is now trying to cross the first chain of islands in the Pacific Ocean. So the point I want to make is China is constantly challenging the US dominance, military dominance, especially in the various regions of the world. So USA ने क्या strategy apply की that, okay, not single-handedly, but USA will make alliance with many of the like-minded countries, and together they will try to contain China. Okay, so AUKUS is an example of this. Okay, where हमने लास्ट पॉइंट में लिखा है AUKUS provides USA an opportunity to place a proxy submarines to contain China. ठीक है, क्योंकि सबमरीन्स किसे दिए गए हैं? ऑस्ट्रेलिया को. So proxy is raised by US to achieve its own objective. ठीक है, so this is now understand that Quad neither has the capacity, neither it has the mandate to meet the Chinese muscular aggression. इसका रीजन काफी साफ है, because India had refused, Australia had also refused earlier to militarize Quad. So Quad is not at all a defense organization. जो हालांकि इसका अनऑफिशियल पर्पस वही है, बट हम इसे ऑन पेपर कभी नहीं मानेंगे कि Quad has some defense motive or it is a military organization. But AUKUS itself is been declared as a security arrangement between these three countries. Okay, so tomorrow China cannot complain against India that we are a part of an alliance, of a military alliance against China. See, China keeps on looking for such opportunities, okay, where it can extend its muscular end. ठीक है, तो जैसे इंडिया ने अगर कोई मिलिट्री अलायंस चाइना के खिलाफ साइन कर दिया, so it will keep on drum beating it that India is signed or is a part of a military alliance against China, and this makes China, or या हम कहेंगे this will allow China to go more aggressively against India on the border issue. So हम इससे थोड़ा सा रिफ्रेन करते हैं. Now, currently, what the government follows, or very one good policy that we see, okay, we do not try to appease our allies. So let it be USA, let it be UK or any other country. We do not try to appease them. Now onwards, we look at the issues from our own national security prism. ठीक है, तो डोकलाम के टाइम भी हमने वही किया. यूएसए वांटेड अस कि डोकलाम जो इशू 78 डेज का जो स्टैंड ऑफ था between Indian soldiers and the Chinese soldiers, where both armies were standing eyeball to eyeball, USA wanted us to pull this issue for a longer period of time. But as the dialogues, जैसे हम मिलिट्री कमांडर लेवल मीटिंग्स वहां पे होते गए, okay, both the countries, India and China, mutually and reciprocally they resolved this issue. ठीक है, तो USA criticized this. They wanted us to pull it more, but we did not do it. Okay, so to put it in a nutshell, now India looks at various international issues from the prism of its own national interest. तो ये एक बहुत अच्छी पॉलिसी है जो हम फॉलो करते हैं. We also follow the policy of, mark this word, strategic autonomy. Okay, so we do not come under the influence of the hegemony of one country कि वो कंट्री हमें डिक्टेट करे कि हमारे फॉरेन पॉलिसी टर्म्स क्या रहे. ठीक है, तो ये भी हम नहीं करते. Okay, so this is also a very good stand from the Indian government. Okay, so with this we complete our today's part. If there are any questions, definitely I would like to answer them. Okay, you can shoot your questions. जो भी questions है आप पूछ सकते हो, please. Okay, if there are no questions, you can leave these sessions. Just a small announcement I would like to make at both the branches, Thane and Nerul. ठीक है, we are starting with classroom sessions. तो अगर आपने आपका vaccine cycle complete नहीं किया है, those who are eligible, so please complete your vaccine cycle. There are chances that government might allow, okay, train passes on single vaccine. Officially not declared, but it might happen. Slowly and steadily, we are in dialogue with students coming from various regions. Phase by phase, we will be starting. Nerul branch में तो अच्छे से हो गया है. At Thane branch also, we will be starting phase by phase. जैसे कल से lectures वहाँ पे start हो रहे हैं. तो अगर आपको possible रहेगा तो definitely come for the classroom sessions. अगर possible नहीं है, so you can continue with the same policy जैसे हम अभी जा रहे हैं. ठीक है, but definitely please cover your vaccine cycles because you can get train passes on the same. तो आपको traveling के लिए इसमें काफी आसान रहेगा. Yes, I am. Please go ahead with your question.
Sir, I want to ask that, sir, we can read the NCERT books.
You can read the.
NCRT books.
Yeah, definitely. If you wish, you can read it.
Sir, of
Perfectly well.
basically of which standards? 11, 12.
स्टैंडर्ड तो वैसा नहीं है. सी फॉर एवरी सब्जेक्ट देयर इज अ डिफरेंट बुक. अगर हम जनरली देखें तो 6 to 12 के हमें पढ़ने हैं, बट टू बी वेरी स्पेसिफिक देयर आर सर्टन, मतलब सब्जेक्ट वाइज इसके स्टैंडर्ड्स चेंज होते रहेंगे. जस्ट टू गिव यू एग्जांपल, फॉर ज्योग्राफी जनरली वी गो फॉर 11th and 12th स्टैंडर्ड. वैसे 6th 7th 8th के भी बुक्स आप पढ़ोगे तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बट व्हेन यू रीड फॉर 11th and 12th स्टैंडर्ड, तो जो डेटा 6th 7th 8th में दिया है, दैट प्लस एडवांस डेटा इज ऑलरेडी कवर्ड इन 11th and 12th. तो ये स्टैंडर्ड वाइज, मतलब सब्जेक्ट वाइज चेंज होते रहेगा. और वेन एवर यू विल कम फॉर द क्लासरूम देयर इज अ सेट अवेलेबल, तो वो सेट मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ, तो उससे आप चाहिए तो स्टैंडर्ड नोट डाउन कर लीजिए फिर.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah. Okay, if there are no questions, then you can leave the session. We are done with our today's part. Thank you. इसका टेस्ट होने वाला है संडे पे, दिस प्लस अदर करंट अफेयर्स फॉर द मंथ ऑफ सितंबर एंड अक्टूबर. तो अच्छे से पढ़ के आइए. आपको थोड़ा सा इससे फॉर्मेट समझा रहेगा कि हाउ करंट अफेयर्स आर टू बी टैकल्ड. So this 2 months, September and October, okay, the newspaper that you have already read, I assume, and second is the current affairs magazines or the websites that you are following. Okay, so we will take a test that will give you a better clue of current affairs. Okay, chalo, thank you very much for being a part of this.